Hey friends, I am Daanvi and welcome to Science VD. I tell you the most interesting and fun-filled facts about science. Let me explain to you about landforms. When a piece of land have different characteristics or physical features, it is called a landform. How do landforms form? Well, there are two main processes. One is the internal or endogenic. That is where everything happens below your feet or below the earth's surface, such as the tectonic plates movement or the mantle creating pressure on the crust. The external or exogenic, that is where everything happens all around you, such as the rain, wind, waves. For example, let's take the rain. The water falls down and along with it sweeps nutritious soil, minerals, sediments, etc. to a place where it creates a new landform. There's so many landforms to discuss about. Let's start with mountains. When two tectonic plates collide, they create an upliftment or a bump, creating a mountain. There are three different types of mountains. The first is a block mountain. Imagine that there's a very thick crust right here. So a part of the crust breaks down and goes slide and gets stuck halfway. So the person who is standing in the middle of that broken part may seem that the surrounding land is high above him. This piece of land which broke may be thousands of kilometers wide. The second type is a fold mountain. When two tectonic plates collide, they create some pressure in the middle, leading to beautiful mountain ranges. Example of an old fold mountain is the Aravalli. An example of a young fold mountain is the Himalayas. Next is the volcanic mountains. When a crater which emits lava, layer by layer it hardens. So layer by layer it forms a mountain. Volcanoes not only form mountains, but also if our volcano is in the middle of an ocean, the lava comes in contact with the water and forms, yes, guessed it right, islands. Islands is known as an island because if a small piece of land which is covered totally with water, it is known as an island. Islands can be big or small. The biggest island ever is Greenland, but Australia is bigger than Greenland. But Australia is so big that it's said to be a continent. Next is the plateaus. Imagine that there's a very thick crust right here. Remember, because of the formation of volcanoes, it causes plateau. Let me explain. The mantle creates pressure on a piece of land. So, a piece of land breaks and goes up. But sometimes, to create a volcano, it needs intense pressure to create a hole in which lava comes out. But sometimes, this pressure is not enough. So, it just lifts up the piece of land and gets stuck, creating a plateau. Plateaus are very rich in minerals. Plateaus can be found anywhere, just one in a plain land or surrounded by other plateaus. Next is the plains. Plains is the most fertile land out of all these categories. It is best for human survival because we can do agricultural activities such as farming. Next landform is the deserts. It is known as a desert if there is a very hot atmosphere, very little water, as well as very little animals and plants. When a fertile piece of land turns into a desert, that process is called desertification. You won't believe it or not, but we humans are turning everything into deserts because of overgrazing of livestock, deforestation, etc. Water bodies can also create landforms. Rivers is the main landform out of all these. How are rivers formed? Well, imagine there's a very big icy mountain right here. The ice breaks and melts, so forming very nice fresh water. Because of the gravity of the earth, the water slides down, so it increases its speed. This is called the upper course. Moving from the upper course to the middle course, that is where the river gets thick enough. Have you ever seen a river? That is where it turns and twists. The S-shaped curves is called a meander. So These S-shaped curves, when they get so slender, they cut off and they leave some water behind. That is called an oxbow lake. Sometimes some rivers get branched out of the main river. In the lower course, it happens a lot. So more and more rivers get branched off and come back together to the main river before it enters the mouth. What is the mouth of the river? Well, that is where the river meets the ocean, while a source means the mountain which created the river. Next landform is the peninsula. When a piece of land it is covered by three sides of water, it is called a peninsula. Example of a peninsula is our very own India. Next is the isthmus. Isthmus is a small connection which connects two larger pieces of land. Example of the isthmus is the Panama, which connects North America with South America. Isthmus is covered by two sides of water. Next is the estuary. Estuary is the mouth of the river, in which I told. Estuary is so shallow that we can see the riverbed itself. That much crystal clear it is. But when they reach the mouth of the river isn't very fresh. It is salty because it connected with the ocean. A large water body which is totally covered by land, it is called a lake, while a small water body which is covered with land, it is called a pond. Sometimes lakes can be so salty. Example of a salty lake is the Pink Lake from Australia. It is pinkish in color because of its salt contents in the lake. And sometimes lakes and ponds can be formed because of rainfall. There's so many such landforms that we didn't have time to discuss in this video. So whatever you see around you is a landform. Okay friends, bye bye. See you next topic next time. Don't forget to subscribe and hit on the like button if you like my video. Bye bye.